Until then, nope, a nope, a nope, a nope, definitely nope, a nope, nope, a nope. Probably never, ever, 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 ever gonna happen. Oh no.
We are live.
All right, here we
Welcome,
go.
one and all. I hope you enjoyed that fresh snowman timer. And if you'll notice, the person beside me, Mr. Furzel, is joining me today. Give a greeting,
Hello.
Mr. Furzel.
Hello, everybody. Now you get to see the wolf behind all the wisdom that comes in these watch parties.
Yep. Do you want to just mention real quick why you are in a mask, or should we just leave it to the imagination?
Well, Sharon, I'm just a lonely internet wolf who just loves movies. But I appreciate you. Thank you for this opportunity. I hope we can all enjoy this fantastic film that's coming our way.
Yes, and this is one that you chose. And why don't you give just a background as to what made this movie so special and why you chose it?
Well, Sharon, I've always been a fan of the superhero genre. This superhero fatigue has never really gotten in my way. But the thing that always stood out about the Shadow was that he was a little bit different. He was kind of like always a villain that became and was reformed as a hero. And I also like the way that he would always use his the people he saved in his crusade against crime. So I think people are really going to appreciate that there's a lot of differences about this character that are different from other kind of superheroes, and especially in the MCU, the DCAU, and things of that nature.
Right. Well, very interesting choice. And this is a throwback to the early 90s and the practical effects, computer effects. So we shall waste no more time. We will get to it. Why don't you count us down, Mr. Furzel?
All right, here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, start.
All right.
There's Universal. All right.
Okay. Oh, I forgot to put the sync point in the YouTube chat. Sync point was about 15 seconds in.
Yes, at the Universal.
That's-
Sorry, guys. The
Yeah.
Universal.
Yep, I forgot to put it in the YouTube chat. Okay, so why don't I? Well, let's do a shout out. Let's see who's joining us
Yes.
today. Let's see. In YouTube, we have Mad Matt, we have Eric, Miss Swift, James Hellier is there. Let's see, Alex Peacock, Calbot, old Johnny Devick. Boy, we got a good crowd today. Alex
Yeah.
Peacock. All right, and let's see who we have in Discord.
Seems like all the usual suspects.
I think we have a full crowd today. We have Brainwire. Let's see, Miss Swift, Alex Peacock, Calbot, Mad Matt, Alex Peacock. So we have a lot of people doing double duty on YouTube and Discord. Let's see, Eric. Who am I missing? Am I missing anybody?
So far I don't think you're missing anyone, Sharon.
Right on. Well, thank you all for joining us. So, Stan Winston, co-executive produced this too.
Oh yes, Russell Mulcahy. If anyone else in the chat can tell me another fantasy supernatural film that Russell Mulcahy produced, I'd be very impressed.
Okay, James Hellier had a comment. Can we have a timestamp for sync purposes? That is another thing I'm working on. I will have some time to work on this program this week, and so I would also like to have the timestamp in the upper corner. I think this corner. Is everybody seeing that? Well, I'll have the timestamp for up in that corner.
Here we've got the great James Hong, great character actor.
So if I remember correctly, in the 90s, the superhero genre really took off actually from, I think, the '89 Batman, Tim Burton's Batman, and that kind of
Absolutely.
launched some of these superhero movies.
Absolutely, Sharon. That was some of the earliest inspiration here.
Hmm.
And but and so before, I mean, really, Spider-Man reinvigorated it back in 2002. But before that, this was it. It was basically films like The Shadow, The Rocketeer in '91 that kind of inspired all of this early fandom. By the way, looks like Alex Peacock, James Hellier were correct. Highlander is what I was thinking of for the other film Russell McKay directed. So good on you guys.
Yeah, we got a bright crew here.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
And the
yeah,
and
I
the
don't
other
know what
thing
to
that
channel
makes
to
the
you
Shadow
guys.
so endearing, at least in my eyes, at least this version, is the fact that he kind of starts out as a villain. He starts out as this cold-hearted, cold-blooded killer, but he then has to find redemption. I mean, that's really what makes kind of the most interesting sort of heroes, those that know the evil that lurks in the hearts of men, as they say.
One thing I do want to point out. Um, this movie predates by decades predates the drama that Alec Baldwin got into as of late.
Absolutely.
Um, so we could launch into a whole discussion about our personal opinions on what happened on the set. Um, but we have a resolution, and the charges against him were dropped. And that's, I guess that's how our justice system has decided to handle this.
Yeah, Sharon. It's obviously a tragedy. The stunt woman that was killed as a result of the production of Rust. But you're absolutely right. At least for now, he's been exonerated, and that's kind of how we proceed.
Yep. But back in the '90s, he was actually not considered a superstar, but he has had um, quite his share of like top billing. Um, I
I agree.
remember not just this movie. Um, I'm gonna have to go back and do a Google search. Um,
I think some of us in the chat, Alex Peacock, for example, mentioned Red October, The Hunt for Red October.
mhm, mhm.
Obviously, another big Baldwin film from the early '90s.
Yep. I mean, yeah, shout him out. I mean, he was, yeah, Beetlejuice, Hunt for Red October. He was in one with his wife. I think that's where they met. Um, quick, what's that movie? I know
Okay,
you
was
guys have
he
come
in
up
the
with
movie
it.
with Cindy Crawford? I'm not sure, my friend. You'd have to be a little more specific, I think.
Let's see.
Ah, The Getaway. Yes, Miss Swift. I think you're right.
Mm. And we have an all-star cast here, and we've
Oh,
already seen quite a few of the stars.
oh, absolutely. This really is an ensemble cast. It's one of the reasons why I'm a little confused. This film did not do better at the time that it came out. Speaking of the cast, if anybody listens close, you might be able to determine the voice actor for the Purba here, the living dagger that's flying around. If you've watched cartoons a lot in the past, let's see if the chat can illuminate us as to who that is.
That is one of the disadvantages I have of I have to have subtitles on. So I can't hear that.
Very good, Calbot. Absolutely. Frank Welker, the consummate voice actor for animal sound effects in the 80s and 90s cartoons.
Oh,
Close, Alex. Jim Cummings would have been a close second, but no, Frank Welker is always the man.
So we have some pretty good that I'm imagining that's a practical effect.
Oh
The
yeah,
sword. The 90s. Okay, so now we have Cranston's going through this transition into the hero.
that's it, absolutely. And that's again, I think
Um,
it's one of the things that makes the Shadow a little bit different is the fact he actually was a bad guy in the beginning, but kind of reforms and becomes a good guy. His powers aside, and I'll talk more as we go on about other things I think that kind of sets him apart from other superheroes in the genre. But this the period piece of having it set, in the 1930s, kind of a la La Rocketeer, really just makes this seem really just gives this a different kind of feeling.
right. 1930s New York. And so we just fast forwarded through all of that training and now we jumped ahead 7 years.
Yep.
It would have been nice if we had had an extended version of this movie,
Yeah.
if it even exists, of that training. That would be cool.
And I think they took some liberties with the characters. Maybe the chat can correct me, but the original Shadow was more of just a classic pulp kind of detective character that kind of loomed in the shadows and did the detective thing. But here in the film, they definitely give him supernatural, telepathic, telekinetic powers, which again I feel separates him a little bit from the other superheroes of the genre, but definitely moves a little bit away from the source material.
Now, the shadow, did that originate from the radio serial
Absolutely.
from
From the
way back
1930s.
in the shadow, 239 episodes.
Uh-huh. I mean, it kind of reached its peak when he kind of jumped the shark once they put the Shadow's head on a robot. I read once upon a time. But you gotta love a superhero that begins by just laughing maniacally at the bad guys.
Oh, are we about to be introduced
Absolutely.
to his alter ego?
James is saying, "Oh, the Shadow had these powers on the radio." Oh, okay, there you go. Gotta love the Tommy gun with the classic drum magazine.
Yeah, Alex mentioned he had the supernatural-ish powers in the radio show too. And the radio show aired from 1932 to 1954.
There we go.
Um, and if anyone is interested, these old time radio dramas, serials, they are out there on the internet.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Mad Matt made a comment, you will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. That's exactly what I was thinking.
And you got to admit, Baldwin definitely has the voice to be menacing here.
Yep.
Just to kind of laugh and make threats from the shadows. No pun intended.
And of course, Alec Baldwin comes from a long line of Baldwins.
Absolutely.
Um, I think I lost track of the brothers. There's five of them, four or five, and
Johnny
they're
Depp, I think
everywhere.
you're absolutely right. In fact, that was part of what I did in school when there was a semester when my English teacher made us do an old fashioned radio play from the 1930s. I believe it was either Superman or The Shadow. So I think that's a great move. And
Oh,
here we
look at this.
go.
We're getting a close up. Very
Very comic
Tim
accurate,
Burton.
too.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's Baldwin in makeup or a different actor, but
I think that's Baldwin in makeup, and it's a very Tim Burton esque look.
and there you got Sab Shimono, great character actor as well. if you're going to have Colts, you got to have pearl handles.
Absolutely. 1930s, that was a very high-end pistol.
Absolutely. But it was a great bait and switch because it almost makes you look like the Shadow is going to execute him, but nope, he's actually freeing him from the stone. So great editing on that too.
Yeah, Cowbelt mentioned the look at and the twin automatic pistols came from the comics.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, the Shadow has a really long history. Oh, and here Peter Doyle as the driver.
Peter Doyle. Great cast we got
Yep.
here.
Yep, everybody loves Raymond's dad, Alex.
You're right, Alex.
Yep.
Well, what I love about this is what makes the Shadow so different is that he actually uses the people he saves and creates his own agents so that he actually has a workforce that's out there in the world helping him whatever he needs to, which again, I think kind of makes him a little bit different from other superheroes in the genre. Another thing that just kind of makes this film stand out.
Let's hear it from the chat. Anybody who has seen this in the theater back in 1994?
94, yeah, that'd be a great question.
Yep.
I'm not sure if I saw this back in 94 when I was a kid. I certainly would have been of age, but I can't quite remember when I saw it. Old Johnny Devick says VHS only. Okay.
Yep, back in the day when the rentals started, everything was on VHS. And I don't remember the first time I saw this actually. It might have been on a rental, and it could have been, because back in the day, the movies that hit the theater, they were in the theater for a long time. Then about a year later, maybe less than a year, they made the cable circuit. And then about a year after they hit the theaters, they would be on video.
Calbot says, you saw it for the first time today. Well, my friend, I think you're in for a treat. And Alex Peacock, I've seen it in theaters. I can't quite recall. Miss Swift, I know I didn't see it in theater. Okay. Soundtrack's a little like Batman. I think you're right, Johnny Devick. Unless I'm mistaken, I believe Jerry Goldsmith influenced the music for this one. Maybe someone can correct me.
The style of the scenery is very much like Batman.
Yes.
89.
I also see a lot of parallels with The Rocketeer as well. It's kind of from that same era where they were trying to create a period piece from the 30s, an adventure film, and from a serial to try and make something popular, and it just kind of is kind of ahead of its time, unfortunately.
So I'm going to do a quick search. Budget of 40 million, only made 48 million.
Yep.
So it came out summer of 94. So it was either not marketed correctly or it had some stiff competition.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Lion King, Forrest Gump, True Lies. There you go.
94 was a big year for big films.
Yeah.
The Mask as well. You're right, Johnny.
Yep. The Mask was number 6. Well, The Shadow ranked number 18.
Yep.
So it's pretty respectable, but I think by the standards of the day, it was a modest success.
Absolutely. And here we get our introduction to Baldwin himself.
Yep.
Look at the mitts that Baldwin has. He's got big friggin' mitts there.
Interesting. Oh, and that is
Here we go, Jonathan Winters,
Jonathan Winters. Yep.
another classic actor.
Yep. Classic comedian.
As you mentioned, Sharon, we got an ensemble cast in this picture. We
Hmm.
got plenty of character actors, plenty of actors who have long resumes full of great
Yep.
films.
Penelope Ann Miller. She was also in Scarface around this
Yep,
time. No, Scarface was 10 years. Oh my gosh, Scarface was 83.
83, absolutely, yep.
My
About
goodness.
11 years before this one.
Oh my goodness.
I think you're right, Eric. I think Baldwin could have played James Bond easily.
So who was playing James Bond about this time? Was this Pierce Brosnan?
Pierce Brosnan's era, yep.
Yeah, Pierce Brosnan era.
Or at least it was about to begin. I think, unless I'm mistaken, chat, correct me. I think GoldenEye came out in '95. That was Brosnan's first picture as Bond.
95, yep.
Damn, I'm good.
You are. Well, you know what's interesting is when we get talking about one movie, it segues into another, and we do this whole 6 degrees of a Kevin Bacon thing.
Absolutely.
So it makes it fun.
And here's the Shadow first using his powers as a civilian. One of the other things that makes him so cool, he can just dip into it.
Oh my goodness. Okay, James Hellier mentioned Timothy Dalton.
Yes.
So
He was the Bond before Brosnan.
before,
I believe
yeah.
Dalton's last Bond film was '89, I believe, unless I'm mistaken.
And Timothy Dalton, I think, was the one after Roger Moore,
Yes.
then Pierce Brosnan, then
Daniel
boy.
Craig.
All right, so she's coming in as the love interest because you have to have a love interest
Absolutely.
in a superhero movie.
Of course, it's easy to woo a woman when you got telepathic powers and can read her mind.
Yeah, and buttloads of money doesn't help. It doesn't hurt. But now, this is juxtaposition of his character that we were introduced to. He's no longer this scumbag evildoer.
Yes.
Oh yeah, old Johnny Devick mentioned Dalton was okay, but Pierce is my generation's Bond. Yeah, I remember Timothy Dalton was in a couple of them, and then Pierce Brosnan just ran away with it.
Oh yeah, I agree, Johnny. I mean, Dalton definitely deserves his place, but Brosnan it feels like my Bond as a kid.
Oh, okay. Seriously, Mad Matt, the Superman comics did establish that Margot Lane and Lois Lane are cousins. So
Really?
They exist in the same universe.
Well, how about that?
Pretty cool. You learn something new every day.
It kind of reminds me of the relationship between the Green Hornet and the Lone Ranger. As the Green Hornet allegedly is supposed to be a descendant of the Lone Ranger's character.
Okay, old Johnny Devick says, I just saw there was an episode of Star Trek where Kirk has a brother and dies.
I was not aware of that.
I was not aware of that either. I don't remember that reference in the original series, but there might have been a reference in some of the later.
How about I think that's probably more than a coincidence, my friend.
Yeah, very interesting.
Very interesting indeed.
Last episode of season 1. Okay.
I love
So I think we have to revisit season 1 of Star Trek. I'm gonna have to revisit that.
I love the parlance of the 30s, dames and gams and other colloquialisms. Of course, that's just kind of a pastime of mine.
So this is very interesting imagery, mixture of um, CGI with real
You're
fire,
right.
I guess.
I
Yeah.
mean, this really was kind of the beginnings of that era. Mix of practical effects with beginnings of CGI. But I mean, I really think, and especially once we get to later parts of the film, I really think it still holds up as being very impressive.
Yeah, most definitely. The 90s um, was a tremendous year for the advent and carrying on of the CGI. Um, I think Jurassic Park was the first movie that just brought it to the forefront, and it
Absolutely.
became apparent that CGI was kind of the wave of the future versus practical effects.
Yeah,
Um,
I think a lot of people use Jurassic Park as kind of like the benchmark when from the before and after, from before
right.
CG to after CG, things really becoming more sophisticated. That's right.
Okay, all-star cast. This actor right here, he's one of those guys. You
Yep.
see him, you know him from about a million different things, but when someone asks, what else has he been in? You draw a blank.
You're right, Miss Swift. He is Mr. Taylor from Alf.
From Alf, yep.
A lot
And
of
then
a
the
lot
guy
of
in
great
front,
character actors in this picture.
yep. And the guy in back, I believe, yep, yep. Calbot has it right. Um, wasn't he also in, I want to say the TV show Benson, but that's taken me back. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Our connection to watching My Stepmother is an Alien, Mad Matt posted. That's where he's from.
Yep.
My Stepmother is an Alien. That is another movie that we have referenced quite a few times during our previous
We're gonna
watch
have to add
party.
that to the list then.
And I'm going to have to add that to the list.
I remember.
I think it was probably one of the 5 people that has actually seen it in the movie theater.
I remember
Um,
seeing that as a kid. That was one of my awakening films. I remember.
yeah, but did you see it in the movie theater? Did someone drag you kicking and screaming?
No, but
And
no, I think I saw that on home video, but I remember renting it a couple of times. My parents somehow allowing it, even though it provided a kind of a sexual awakening kind of scene in there.
most definitely. Okay,
Johnny
so
Devick, you're
that
absolutely
is
right. Yep, the
on
guy
the
in the
list.
glasses is the father from the Alf TV series. Yep, has been looted.
Okay, old Johnny Devick made the comment, Operation Annihilate. George Samuel Kirk found dead in the episode. Oh, I hear a cat.
That's that's my
That's
little
not
boy.
my cat.
That's my little boy Murphy. He's just
Mm.
reminding me that I'm here and that he's here and needs some attention once in a while.
Well, he's obviously used to seeing you in the mask. He doesn't sound bothered by it.
That's right. Yeah, he's used to living with a wolf, aren't you, buddy? Yeah, he's a good boy. Here's another good scene. Not just this security guard's actually another character actor that's been around the block once or twice.
Yep, this scene had all of these characters that you could tell that they were in a lot of things, but yeah, aside from Alf, I know that actor's been in quite a few other things.
Yep.
I would have to Google him though to figure it out.
And here we get our first appearance of
Oh,
the imitable John Lone.
Is that your movie, Mr. Furzel?
Which one?
I can hear a movie.
I think so, yeah.
Okay. I thought it was mine.
Here's a pop quiz for the chat. Can someone tell me another film John Lone played in with Jeremy Irons? Kind of a famous film based on a play.
Hmm. Based on a play.
Got one in mind.
Oh, I think Miss Swift got it.
Not quite. I mean, those are definitely
Nope.
John Lone films, but I'm thinking one.
It's a film based on a play.
James Hellier. Yes, Madame Butterfly. There you go.
Aha.
Great editing in that scene, by the way. They cut away just as the hammer from the gun was just about to click from the gun. Just goes to show Russell Mulcahy or whoever the editor was of this film that did a great job.
Okay, another great actor. Couple great actors in this movie. I mean, this is
so many.
literally an all-star cast.
Really is. We haven't even gotten to all of them. In fact, here's another. Ian McKellen,
Yep.
before he became Magneto.
Sir Ian Magneto, absolutely. And Tim Curry. Oh, we could do.
Oh, so many.
Oh, man. Tim Curry, I salute you, sir. Scared the
Absolutely,
crap out of
Johnny.
me in it.
Cast in this movie is awesome. It's one of the reasons it's one of my favorite films.
So what's fascinating, I think, about Tim Curry is he not only plays, he can play anything, anybody,
Yes.
anywhere, and outact anybody. You watch him in Rocky Horror Picture Show, doing his thing, and then you see him in It, absolutely scaring the crap out of me.
Absolutely. You can even see him playing a scumbag, like right here. James, I think you're right. I would totally be up for a Congo watch party. Anytime a Crichton movie is being shown, I'm 100% in.
Well, so I got to thinking I might as well ask you guys here. We don't need to do a poll. Would anybody be up for doing more than one watch party a week?
Oh, wow.
It's a thought that I've had because since breaking away from Creator VC, the fountain that we can pull movies out of is basically limitless.
Absolutely.
And to do one a week, it almost seems like a shame. But I don't want to be doing them. I mean, I could probably do it every day, but that would be a bit much.
I think that would probably be a little much, Sharon.
I don't think anybody would join me every day, but maybe twice a week.
It could be possible.
Maybe.
James, I think you're right. It's best to pace ourselves. I think once a
Yeah.
week, maybe twice a week at most might be the threshold.
Well, Johnny Devick would just quit his job and we could, everybody just quit your job. We can watch movies all day.
That's right.
Oh man, that would last probably about a week, if that. So maybe on a special occasion, maybe if something comes up, we do more than one a week.
Alex, I agree with you. The shots, the kind of like foreground, background shots they're doing here are really amazing.
So the sets appear to be on a back lot somewhere.
Yes.
However, when you see some of the sweeping scenes, they almost appear like a matte painting.
Yes. Chat, maybe correct me, but I believe they originally shot this on just a bunch of studio backlots, with the exception being perhaps the shot in Asia. Supposedly they went out, but I think the rest of it is just backlots, pretty much.
Oh yeah, like the beginning scene when they
Yes.
were in Tibet.
Yes.
Okay.
Here's another popular character actor, the taxi driver. His name escapes me for the moment. Chat, maybe you can illuminate me. Especially since he just expired.
Yeah, they only showed him for just a brief moment, didn't they? Let's see
Yes.
who got. Nope, we don't have anybody coming up with a name yet. Did James Hellier get it right? Larry Hankin?
Uh, I mean, he could be right. I really am not sure, but it sounds right.
I think so. Okay, let me. Yep, that's it. I was about to upload that same picture, Mad Matt. The
There we
grumpy
go.
neighbor from Friends.
That's right. Thank you, Mad Matt.
And he is that guy.
Yep. I kind of miss the full coat police uniforms. I wonder if they might bring those back.
Oh, they're so bulky. Well, back in the 30s, cops didn't have bulletproof vests.
Yes.
So, from experience, you have the undershirt, then you have the vest, then you have a t-shirt over it, then you have your uniform. It's heavy enough.
Right. And again, I like the world building of this film. To think that the Shadow has a network of agents that are just scouring the city, just kind of feeding him information before the computer age, before the internet age, before email, and they're just kind of using these pneumatic tubes to send him all this information, all from one place.
Yeah, that's crazy. Alex also made that comment about the pneumatic tubes all over the city. Yeah, I think the only place these days where you'll find those are at bank bank
Yes,
tellers, like the drive-through. I think they still have them.
absolutely. And of course, they establish those
Oh,
rings as being the telltale sign that they're a shadow agent.
yes, I was thinking the same thing, Alex. The Bat Cave. It's like a Bat Cave and Dakota rings.
I'd be
That is
curious
a
to know if that
wonderful shot
I'd be
of
curious to know if that cab is a specific kind of car, or if it was custom made for the film. Chad, I don't know if you can help me out on that one, but if you know any information, please share.
I wouldn't be surprised. All of those vehicles are probably really very true to the age. Um, there are businesses specifically that will, what is it, design, provide vehicles and decor for your period pieces. Oh,
Yes.
this is cool.
Yeah,
This is his Bat Cave,
that's right. The Sanctum.
the Sanctum. But yeah, we should get an image of what a taxi cab, New York City taxi cab in the 30s. What did it look like? I can't imagine them easy to find,
Probably not.
there, here we go. Yeah, I have a black and white image. I don't know if that was from the 30s.
Okay.
All right,
I agree,
let's.
Johnny. I'm all about the mechanical, especially blended with the old timey kind of technology.
So I just uploaded. This was an image of what a yellow cat looked like in the 30s.
Oh yeah. Okay, so it's
Very close to.
yeah, not that far
Yeah,
off.
pretty close. Oh, here we go. Last descendant of Genghis Khan.
Makes his motivation very clear, just straight up
Yep.
world conqueror, you know.
Oh, Johnny Devick. Oh, thank you for that Dark City reference. I think Dark City's already on my list. So many movies.
Yinko. And I find it interesting that Baldwin's character never relents. He never dips back into the old, like the bloodthirstiness of his old persona. It's like he is 100% just, I'm the shadow. I'm a force for good now, and I will not like go back to the way I was before.
That is the same kind of transformation. I was just reminded of Tony Stark. That's the transformation he went through
Yeah.
to be Iron Man. And of course, the hero has to be this multi-millionaire, multi-billionaire. Because
It
then,
complicates things a lot less when you're personally wealthy, I take it.
yeah, I mean, how else can you afford all of your toys, all the gadgets? Oh, Johnny Devick said Dark City was one of the first movies made in Sydney after Hollywood started making movies over there, like The Matrix
Absolutely.
sometime after.
Yep.
Huh, very interesting.
I have to. I didn't acquire my taste for bourbon from this film, but I have to respect Khan's taste in alcohol. It's definitely a personal favorite of mine.
So they're sizing each other up.
Absolutely. I just love. I love Cranston's nonchalantness, just kind of basically waiting for Khan to lay out his whole scheme here so he can jump on it.
Oh, they're talking suits. Brooks Brothers, and I think Brooks Brothers is still around.
It is.
So who is this actor that plays Khan?
That would be John Lone.
Yeah, I want to say he's one of those. He's one of those guys too.
Yep. He showed up. He was definitely around in the early '90s, maybe even later '90s. Definitely a character actor.
Yep. And so he did Madame Butterfly
Yes.
with Jeremy Irons the year before this came
Yep.
out. Okay, he was also in The Last Emperor from the 80s. And interesting note. I'm seeing that he was also in Iceman. Does anybody remember that movie from '84?
Hmm.
And he's also referenced in the 1970 movie Americathon. I think we talked about that movie. I think when Mad Matt was hosting, I believe we talked about that movie.
It's interesting, Johnny, the kind of inverse Doctor Strange. He definitely has anybody that has a suit that matches the ground to call. Hmm.
So they're listening to The Shadow on the radio.
I remember
How
that
apropos.
always saying "flash," like it's
Yep.
like new update.
Yeah, Miss Swift. He was the title character in Iceman, the guy that they found frozen in the ice.
Hmm. But the ice is slippery. I like that the Shadow is using his own network personally, kind of incognito here too. And here we get to see Sab Shimono, another character actor from the '90s. Pop quiz from the chat. Can you name me a film where Sab Shimono played a shogun in ancient Japan in the '90s?
I bet you someone will come up with it.
I'm eagerly awaiting. Johnny Close, that'd be a good guess, but it was actually much before that, back in the mid '90s. It's actually a film that didn't do very well. Part of a series. It was popular in the '90s.
Is everybody else searching like me?
Very good, James. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3,
Three.
the black sheep of
Good one,
the
James.
live action turtle series back in the '90s.
Oh, was he? Alex asked it. Was he in one of the Mortal Kombats?
Um, I don't believe so. Could be
Hmm.
mistaken. I mean, he might be mistaking him for the actor that played Shang Tsung.
So Alex commented that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle 3 was horrible.
It was.
I was, yeah,
It was. It
some
was not very
franchise,
good. Miss Swift, you're not missing much. Believe me.
yeah,
You'd be saving yourself about 2 hours if you didn't watch that movie.
yeah,
But when I was a
probably two
kid, it
hours.
seemed pretty impressive for the time.
Yeah, some franchises just need to stop.
Yes, I agree,
So
John.
this
The
movie had,
second wasn't anything to write home about either, but was definitely superior to the third.
um, so did they have any plans on trying to make this one a franchise? I don't, I don't
I don't
recall
think
them.
so.
I don't recall this ever hitting the movie theater.
I mean,
Um,
based on the research I've done, I don't think they ever planned on making this a series, but especially after the limited success in theaters, I think they decided they were going to move on. Again, kind of another parallel to the Rocketeer back in '91.
this had the potential of maybe going on.
It really did. I mean, when you think about it, when you think of the introduction of the CG effects, the ensemble cast. I mean, it really had an opportunity, but it just I think it was kind of overshadowed by just a lot of other films in '94.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point, James Haley. Box office bombs don't get sequels. Ugh. I wish that was
Absolutely.
the case these days. I think these days sometimes the director gets locked into some kind of contract and movies just get made because there's an obligation, not because they should be made.
I agree.
That's a cool effect, whether he's seeing it or whether that's actually happening.
Yes.
That's a cool effect.
It's like I said, like some of these digital effects, I think still kind of hold up because they're limited. They don't try to, create something from nothing from the whole screen. They just kind of augment reality a little bit.
Yeah. Cowbot made the comment about Sam Raimi had wanted to do the shadow. Someone else had made the comment too, but he couldn't secure the rights, so he ended up making
Right.
Darkman. And
Absolutely. Yep.
had Sam Raimi got his hands on this movie, who knows what could have happened.
Oh yes.
Jonathan Winters went from doing stand up. He broke the mold and he influenced so many comics that we know of. And then he ended up doing Mork and Mindy. So anybody who has seen him in Mork and Mindy, that was probably it made sense at the time. I think
Yep.
Robin Williams idolized him and he agreed to do it.
Alex, I think you might be right. I mean, the shadow films that Sam Raimi would have made probably would have gone down as cult classics, much like his Evil Dead films. Just low budget, but immensely entertaining films.
It might have gotten a bit more marketing and made a bigger splash at the box office had Sam
Yep.
Raimi had his hands on it.
Yep.
Oh, old Johnny Devick says Bruce Campbell is the Shadow. Huh,
That would have been just about perfect, I think.
that has potential. Isn't Bruce Campbell debating whether to continue as Ash? Is That's what
Uh,
I heard.
I don't. I've been off that grapevine for quite some time, so someone in the chat could probably
Hmm.
inform me
I
better.
heard he's debating coming back. Oh,
I
look
wonder
at
what
those
they used
eyes.
for those silver eyes. I wonder. I guess they
That,
must have used
yeah,
some sort of contact lenses.
that's kind of a wicked effect.
Oh yeah.
Could be black lenses, and they have something that to shine on, just give that little bit of reflection.
Oh yeah.
Oh, look at that. That's a good effect. He's not buying it though.
Yep.
The driver's just like, eh.
He's probably seen it before,
Yep.
but yes,
Well,
us as
that's
the
his.
audience get to see it for the first time in a way.
Yeah. Well, that's like his sidekick, like
Yep.
Robin is to Batman. Okay, both of these guards. Okay, so the guy on the right, I know him from ER, great
Yes.
character actor. And so the guy on the left, offhand, I think he had um, was he on Seinfeld? Did he make an episode? He was on an episode of
I think he
Seinfeld.
did.
Yeah.
Cowbot says that the guard on the right was Abraham Ben
And
Ruby, who'd always been remembered as Larry Kubiak from Parker Lewis Can't Lose, which really takes me back.
oh my gosh, that's a TV show from the 80s.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Wasn't that about the same time that The Wonder Years was on?
Yes,
Parker Lewis can't. Yes. Oh, who posted that picture right there? Oh, Bad Matt posted the picture. Yep.
Alex, you might be right. Maybe Reinhardt Lane and General Lane are also related. Would make sense. The Shadow universe and the Superman universe could be linked.
Yeah, if they're cousins, then we have to be existing in the same space as Superman.
Yep.
So Superman is in Metropolis. Well, the Shadow has New York, and I was thinking that Spider-Man is in the same universe, but Spider-Man is not in the same universe.
No. I always liked this scene right here with the kind of they must have done some CG with the shadows on the walls.
CG versus like hand painted
Yeah.
animation.
But honestly, the scene that kind of sells the special effects to me is happening in just a second here.
Oh, that image right there.
Well, when he comes kind of out of the shadow. Where he kind of comes out, like for me, that still stands up even 30 years on.
Mr. Fursla, if you could turn your movie down just a tad.
Say that again.
If you could turn your movie down just a tad, it's coming through the feed.
Oh, sure thing.
Yeah, that was an interesting scene. So they got his shadow because that's probably what the shadow wanted them to see. Yeah, Johnny Devick, I'm going to nail your shadow to the wall. That was an interesting effect. Hey, boss. Hey,
That's right.
boss. Hey, that's cool. I've never seen a werewolf drink like that, Mr. Furzel.
Well, we drink
That's
any way we
cool.
can.
That's right.
Ah, the phones with the separate earpiece.
This is a pretty authentic decor. Makes you really believe
Yeah,
you're in the 30s.
absolutely. I mean, just like the Rocketeer a couple years before. I
Mhm.
feel like this is right up there with those other period pieces.
Miss Swift posted a picture of one of the Baldwin brothers. Um, I want to. Okay, so you have Alec. You have.
I'm drawing a
Um,
blank.
I want to say Bobby,
Oh,
but
Billy.
Billy.
I agree, Johnny. The one from Firefly was fun. Yes, I think you're right. It might be Adam.
So we have four brothers: Alec, Daniel, William, and Stephen.
Oh, wow.
And
Quite
they look
legacy.
so alike. You put them all four together,
Hmm.
and depending on what era you see that picture, you might not be able to identify him.
Though Cowbot is saying that Adam's not actually a Baldwin brother. I never knew that. That's interesting.
Well, Alec, Daniel, William, and Stephen. Um, hmm.
Another nice bait and switch.
Yeah, that wasn't very nice of her. Oh, Adam Baldwin from Full Metal Jacket, no relation.
Hmm. Those ice
Oh,
blue
yeah.
eyes.
Adam Baldwin is one of those actors. We all love it. Yes, exactly, Mad Matt. Oh, she's going to discover the secret.
Yep. And
Well,
here's
she's a
one.
lot smarter than Lois Lane. You'd think after all of these decades, Lois Lane would figure it out.
That's right.
And I know in some of the canon universes, Lois Lane did figure it out. But when I grew up in, the old TV show, the comics, and the first Superman movies, she didn't have a clue, and we never
Right.
could figure out why.
I think in the comics it was as late as the 90s before she really figured it out. But one of the things that I respected the most about Margot Kidder is they allowed her character to kind of suspect it in the first film and actually figure it out by the second film. I thought that was very organic for them to give her a chance to actually like kind of figure it out and move forward from there. But you're right, in the comics, I don't think it was until like the 90s, just before she was about to marry the guy, before she figured out who Superman really was. That's right, honey. That's right, Johnny. But the convenient Superman power of the amnesia kiss kind of made her forget.
Ugh. Ugh. What a cop out.
That's right.
Ugh. I love Superman too, but that was just a cop out. Oh yeah, Johnny Devick made the comment about the actor was cast out for siding with Donner.
Yes.
Boy, we could go into a whole discussion about Donner or Salkin and
Yeah.
that whole drama and how that played out.
And Richard
Um,
Lester and the different version of Superman too. Yeah, it'd be a whole
oh,
kerfuffle.
what a kerfuffle! And I thought, and I still remember this when we had James O'Halloran on for one of the watch parties a couple years ago. One of the most memorable watch parties was him just going on with his stories of his time in Hollywood, particularly when it centered around the drama that happened during the filming of those movies.
Hmm.
Um, Boy, we could go on, and I think we've done a watch party on the first Superman, right? But not the second.
That's one that's probably got to be done at some point.
Yeah. Then the whole debate of do we do theatrical or the Richard Donner cut? Oh boy.
Oh, how about saying we did do Superman too?
We did. Okay, I'll have to refresh my records. But we haven't, Alex mentioned we didn't do the Donner cut.
Ah,
I think we did do, yeah, a couple mentions that we did do Superman 2. Yeah. Johnny Devick, I would love to. Maybe we could see different versions and try to keep up. Okay.
Hmm.
Boy, wouldn't I would just love for about 300 Sundays in a year for us to get through a ton of movies. Wouldn't that be something?
That would be tremendous,
Oh,
believe me.
he didn't make too much of a mess eating with his fingers.
That's right. I love this conversation. Oh, that knife.
Oh, that's a cool knife.
And I swear, I think they reused that prop knife for another film. Chat, maybe you can remind me, but I could swear I saw that knife again with a different name in another film much later.
I want to say Big Trouble in Little China, but I don't think that's the movie.
Well, that would have been earlier. That would have been before
It's
this one,
earlier.
but I'm talking about one that came after. Ah, Miss Swift, I think you're right. The Golden Child. Yes.
Which was also a watch party we had.
Yes.
Time to refresh my memory. It was the knife from the Golden Child. Mad Matt, Cowbot, Miss Swift, they all got it.
Yep. I just love the sideways glance. It's like, let me control your henchman here for a second. Now, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but I believe that Mythbusters proved that this was a physical impossibility. Two bullets meeting in midair and just slamming into each other like that.
Oh, I just love the sidekick.
Yes.
What is
No
his name in this
treadmill.
movie? The sidekick's name, not Rob. Yeah, I want to say Robin, like in Batman. This does have a very Batman feel to it.
Yeah. I'm sure that's probably what they were building off of is, I mean, when Batman in 89 kind of reinvigorated the genre, then, they were just trying to copycat that with Rocketeer in 91, this in
Yeah.
94, and see, just testing the waters, see what would catch, and then they could make a, whole legacy off of, and nothing really stuck until Spider-Man really came around in '02.
This scene right here with that big sweeping landscape is just that's a great shot.
Oh, yeah.
You see all the buildings. So, fun fact for any of you that don't remember when Batman came out in 89, um, that was, I think, one of the very first movies I remember having a midnight show that sold out within minutes. This
Yeah.
was pre-internet days, so in order to buy tickets, you had to go to the box
Go to the
office and buy
box office,
tickets.
yep.
Yep. And I don't know if I saw it. It was either midnight. They might have had a 2 a.m. showing after that too, 2:30
Yeah.
showing.
I still remember the commercials that came out around that time for Diet Coke. Just for the taste of it, Diet Coke.
Oh,
But you're right,
oh
Alex. X-Men did have its thing, did have its
yeah.
influence back in 2000 as well. Yes, James, I think you're right. Yeah, the Phantom was another 90s superhero film that kind of flew under the radar that was trying to pull on that like 30s adventure serial kind of fandom, but just never really took off.
Well, Batman 89, they hit gold.
Oh,
And
yeah,
then they tried to
absolutely.
replicate it by continuing. Hit and miss.
remember going to see that Batman '89 film in theaters. I think that was the first film I could remember seeing in theaters, and it was pretty scary for a little kid. I think it was probably about 8 or 9 years old at the time. But
And it
I
was
was,
PG at the time, so
oh
you'd be
yeah,
allowed
yeah,
to
which
go.
probably motivated my parents to take me to it. But I remember sitting through a couple scenes with my hands over my eyes. I'll tell you.
Yeah. Oh, Mad Matt referenced Phantom Menace in '99. And yeah, had him hunting down toys at 3 different restaurants. Oh, I remember the start of that trilogy, that
Yes.
pre trilogy, whatever they had called it back in the day.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll never forget seeing my friend come home with a Jar Jar Binks lollipop, which was in the shape of Jar Jar's head, and you would flick the switch, the head would pop open, and the lollipop would be his tongue. And I remember thinking, even as a kid, that there's something wrong with this. There's something
ooh,
wrong with the capitalism that came behind this decision. I, w-
well,
I wish
yeah.
I'd kept one just for posterity's sake, but no, never think about that when you're a kid.
Well, seemed like a good idea at the time, I think, much like Phantom Menace.
Right,
But
exactly.
that scene where he ripped his face,
Yes.
that took me right back to Poltergeist. That
Oh
I
yeah.
saw Poltergeist in '82, and
Oh
I
yeah.
was scared the crap out of me.
I think I love the juxtaposition here where Penelope Ann Miller talks about her glorious, pleasant dream with his. I think it says a lot about where these characters come from.
Well, he's just a tortured soul, a tortured hero
That's right.
type. Oh, that's nice. Ew. Okay, that's a heck of a dream.
That's right. It's funny because
But
most of my dreams are very practical, but also along those same lines. I usually dream about something happening to my car or my house that I have to end up fixing, and then I
oh,
wake up and
nightmares.
relieved it didn't happen. But at the same time, I'm asking, well, brain, why are you tormenting me like this? Why can't we imagine something a little bit more fanciful at night?
Well, they say that it's the brain's way of working out everything going on in life. That's why we dream.
That's right.
Mad Matt posted a picture of that Jar Jar Binks popsicle.
Oh God. Don't
That
remind me, Matt. That was definitely a item of its time.
definitely was. Well, it came out at a time where Lucas had wanting to finish the story and tell the prequel. So
That's
I
right.
get it. I get it. Um, yeah, fun fact, that was when Phantom Menace came out, and I was living in a different city, and they had morning talk radio, these fun morning shows. They had a contest, and the winner of this contest got to legally change their name to Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I came in second. I was second place. Okay. I recently saw this guy in Late Night with the Devil.
Yes. Yeah, I tell you, this film is just full of popular character actors.
Yep. Oh, James Hellier asked, how does a prequel finish the story? The whole prequel trilogy was Lucas's idea to tell the story of how his Star Wars, his creation, came to
Right.
life to tell the backstory, and he had been wanting to do it.
And I
And
keep saying that if they would just release the
oh, there
unedited original versions of the films, I mean, Disney would make a mint. They literally would, but they're never going to do it because
yeah,
apparently that's like Lucas's vision of the trilogy, and it's like, well, if you listen to the fans, you can make another couple $1 billion, but it's your money. You can decide.
yeah. So for a diehard Star Wars fan, of course, I saw all three of those prequels in the theater multiple times because, yeah, you just have to.
Yep.
But they aren't movies that I would go to now.
Right.
Um, and I probably won't put any of those on a watch party list unless by popular demand anybody wanted to see one. And we could have a lively discussion on them.
We could. We
Really.
could. Oh, here's Tim Curry.
Beryllium sphere. Huh. Huh. Where do we know that from? Who posted that picture before? Mad Matt, you're on it. So, crossover. This movie would exist in the same universe as Galaxy Quest,
Hmm.
the Beryllium Sphere.
It's actually pretty smart on Claymore's part here.
Oh, Mad Matt commented Lucas gave us episode 4 because he said the beginning was boring, but fans demanded episode 1 and then complained that it was boring. Well, if Lucas had just, oh, who am I?
That's right.
He made his billions, gave us a great movie series. Okay, Nightmare. It's very easy to panic when you see the water starting to rise,
That's
but you
right.
keep a cool head. You can get out.
Well, and he does go over to the bullet holes and draw some air from them.
Well, we still have some time left in the movie, so I think he makes it. Oh, this is. Oh yeah, now we're getting to. Yeah, that just freaks me out.
This is one of those scenes, and chat, tell me if you're the similar, that whenever there's an underwater scene, I always try to hold my breath to see how realistic it is, to see if like I can hold my breath the same amount of time the hero does. And this one's always close. This one's always like I can hold my breath just barely long enough, but I'm not moving obviously the way that Cranston is swimming around and stuff. But it's just like I can just barely hold it just long enough for Margot to open the door.
So depending on how warm or how cold the water is, we could have um, from the abyss. We could have a scene very similar to what happened in the abyss. Oh yeah, that would knock her off her feet. But yay, she saved the day. So he also has that telekinesis, right? He just,
Yes.
yeah, shouted at
Yeah,
her and then she heard
yeah,
it.
that's absolutely true. He could have
Mhm.
just moved the impediment from the door, I guess, with his mind, and then just opened it that way. But I guess they had to forget that conveniently for the plot.
Well, they needed that drama. That was a good drama scene.
That's right. So now he can look into his mind and get a little like Hellraiser moment here.
Is she invading his thoughts or is he invading hers?
I do like this because it reminds us of where he came from and what he's fought against to try and redeem himself.
James Hallier made the comment the rest of the film is the dying fantasy of Cranston as he drowns. Wouldn't that be a twist at the end? We've seen several movies like that. I don't want to give them
Yes,
away because one of them is on my watch list
yes.
where the movie just twists you and yeah.
Yeah, I'm tempted to name one or two, but like you said, if we're gonna do them as a watch party, I guess I better
Yeah, I know.
decide.
I have one on my watch party list. But I think after what, 20, 25 years, we won't have to worry about spoilers.
I think the
But
statute of limitations probably expired by that point.
yeah, but it's
I
that
do.
fine line, if anybody that hasn't seen the movie, um, you want to not give too much away.
Right. I do find it interesting that Margot is so quick to forgive him of his past sins. It's like, well, you just saw what some of the things he did. He slaughtered some people, but you're willing to be like, okay, yeah, that was all in the past. It's like, well, all right, but
Yeah, once again, the same kind of character arc that Tony Stark had was made weapons of mass destruction, and he did that turnaround and acknowledged who he was before, but became a totally different person.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Johnny Devick, this was just before the time machine picked him up and took him to meet Bill and Ted. Yeah, that would be an interesting twist.
Oh
But yeah,
yeah.
this guy is the descendant of Genghis Khan.
Yep.
Oh, Alex Peacock just posted an image of Hellboy. We have not done a Hellboy movie.
Hellboy would be a fun watch party, no doubt.
That would
Ron
be
Perlman, Guillermo del Toro, absolutely.
it's got to be the original. And as of late, Ron Perlman, yeah, the Ron Perlman original version. I guess Perlman made some demands for him to play Hellboy again.
Right.
So we'll see if that will happen. He's the OG.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I better get my power cord. My laptop is running dry right about now.
Oh, and we're gonna reach the pinnacle of the movie. So they're
That's right.
talking about building the monolith, which is
Yep, I'll be right back.
oh yes, Al Long was in the beginning of the Shadow. He's the one in Bill and Ted. That's right, and he played Genghis Khan in Bill and Ted. Oh, Ash versus Hellboy, Johnny Devick. Oh, can we do that? Can someone write that movie and we'll crowdfund it?
That's very sweet.
So, they briefly talked about the monolith. Oh, yes, Miss Swift. That was from Die Hard. That was him in Die Hard. He was one of the henchmen in Die Hard. Boy, I could do 6 degrees of separation with any one of these guys, and eventually we're going to get back to a movie that is on my list. Oh, Cowbutt, I know that GIF was that from Tim Burton's Willy Wonka version, right? Johnny TV was sent into the TV with the monkeys, I believe. So they keep focusing on this corner building, and now we see it. Oh yeah, Johnny Devick. But sure, I'm teaching my students to make short movies this month. Can use the script tool to make a crossover. You could probably use it as a tool for any number of crossovers, and ones that you would never think of, just to spur their imagination. So, yeah, did you miss the part they revealed the building, or he saw it
Oh,
anyway? Cranston
I got
saw
it.
the building, but nobody else is seeing it.
No, and I love the fact that Tim Curry's character is just so petty about his his elevated position now.
Oh, oh, Cowbutt. Okay, that's from A Space Odyssey, 2001.
Yes.
Yeah, Madman, I'm scratching my head too. It has been a while since I saw A Space Odyssey. I mean, decades.
Hmm.
Um, and unless I revisit one, a lot of the movie just escapes me.
I remember quite a bit. What
Yeah.
Cowbot? What? Why are we referencing that film? If you mind my asking.
Oh, because Calbot posted a picture, and my immediate recollection went to Tim Burton's uh, uh, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory,
Okay,
when the little kid, he got shot to the TV with the monkeys in it.
right. And also the monolith, of course. Okay,
Yes,
I gotcha.
and yeah,
Interesting.
but let me tell you, I've seen a lot of movies in my days, and a lot of them I haven't seen in decades
Oh
that I
yes,
need to revisit.
I think I still
So.
have 2001 in my collection somewhere, probably in
Mhm.
VHS.
So what's funny is when Dom would be talking about how young he is, I would just kind of shake my head, thinking, "Oh, you're such a kid."
Right. I would say the same
You
things
know?
too. It's like, oh, that's how
Yeah.
cute is that?
How cute is that?
you saw movies in the 2000s. Good for you.
Um, just for reference, I remember the very first movie that I have a personal recollection that I saw in a drive-in was The Sting. I saw with my
Wow.
family The Sting at the drive-in. That'll age me.
Wow.
Yep. And I've
You
seen a
know,
lot of movies since then.
I think the last movie I saw at a drive-in was probably Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I think, which came out like
Oh,
'88. I think.
yeah.
There's
Back
a
when
great
drive-ins
horror
were still
shot.
popular. Yeah, I could name a couple actors I've met. Um, oh, Tommy Lee Jones and oh, when was that? Was back in the day. Oh boy, that's stretching my memory. What is the name of that movie?
The Fugitive?
Mm-mm.
Oh.
Oh, back in 1990, Firebirds with Nicolas Cage and Tommy Lee Jones.
Okay.
They, as a side note, the grocery store scene was actually filmed in the little market that I worked at the time.
Wow.
And they closed the store for the day and they allowed all us employees to hang around and watch them film. They literally filmed all day. So that scene, maybe a 30-second scene. And if you'll notice in that scene, on like the second floor, there's a window. That's where we were all sitting and watching them film. And we got to eat with the cast and crew. That was a lot of fun.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. Back before Nicolas Cage really hit it big, sort of. I mean, he was a big name back then.
Yeah, yeah.
And of course, Tommy Lee Jones.
Right. But I guess it was, before like leaving Las Vegas. Right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
His stride. I love this scene here too. Kind of turns Tim Curry on his head. Instead of being the one who's doing the scaring, he's the one that's getting terrified.
And he's shooting at shadows.
Yes. It's honestly a scene that makes me think that Tim Curry could have really been a good Joker. I think he might have even auditioned at one point for the role, but the mania, the desperation he shows here is very Joker-esque in my mind.
And this kind of acting right here is what he nailed when he played Pennywise.
Yes.
Absolutely the perfect casting. The 1990 series is in my watch party list. We have to do it at some point.
Tim Curry did a great job here. Never-ending bullets were only in Resident Evil 4, James. If you had a chance to play that game.
And he just pushed that door open with his mind. Or
Oh yeah.
did he do it?
I just love the way the Shadow's eyes even glow like in the
Yeah.
darkness. It's very menacing, but here obviously he's not the one in control.
Alex Peacock mentioned Tim Curry would have been a good Riddler in another Nolan Batman.
Yes.
Oh, we could chew on that a while. I could see that. Definitely. Okay, well, here we are in the fight to the death.
Huh. Matching minds against minds.
Yep.
And also spinning floors.
Oh, old Johnny Devick mentioned watching Where Eagles Dare on Betamax.
Huh.
Boy, that takes me back to the early days of Betamax or VHS.
I just recently watched The Searchers for the first time. Uh, Another classic kind of Western. Didn't impress, but that's a discussion for another day.
Hmm.
So here we see Cranston finally mastering the Purba.
Oh, good shot. There we go. Now everybody's going to see the
Right.
monolith.
And Ian McCullum even wakes up.
Yeah, that's sort of like you kill a head vampire and everybody else can break free.
Even this is a good scene where he just kind of pulls out the knife, the windows
Hmm.
shatter, and he gives his little death cry before he runs off.
But we don't see him die, which is
Nope,
interesting. He's just because he's injured, he's just breaking all this concentration.
that's right. And we kind of see the point where the hero kind of strips down to like the bare bones. So, he doesn't have his persona, his scarf, or his cloak. He's just got, his basically his weapon, his guns, and he's now running down the bad guy for the final confrontation.
Yeah. Con! Con!
I heard that this Hall of Mirrors that's coming up was actually destroyed in an earthquake. It actually delayed filming for several days.
So this was probably filmed. What earthquake?
Well, I mean, most of this was filmed on a soundstage, so I imagine it was filmed in California, and so I imagine there was a earthquake at one point that just kind of damaged a lot of the mirrors that we're to
Yep.
see.
That was the North Ridge earthquake.
Mm.
Okay, that was a really bad one. Different from the Loma Prieta one they had a couple years prior. Yeah, the North Ridge one toppled tons of interstates, and that was bad. Yeah, the Loma Prieta earthquake, uh, 89.
Miss Swift, I didn't realize they did a Fist of the North Star American live action movie to begin with, so that's a very interesting connection there. Obviously, it's for those in the know, those anime otaku are very familiar with it, but I didn't realize they ever made a American live action version of that. It's interesting.
Yeah, I'm Googling it right now. I'd never heard of it.
Yeah.
Oh, Mamet was in the North Ridge earthquake. Ugh.
Even without the earthquake, you'll be able to see in the sequence that's about to come in a minute or two that the explosions that they rigged for the mirror glass are a little bit fabricated. It's one of the few weak points of the special effects of this film. We'll come to it in a second.
Well, we have to stop it at like 2 or 1. There you go. 1 second. Whew. Okay, so they're both kind of injured. They're not dead yet. All right, let's place the bets. Who do you think is going to be victorious?
If you look close, you can kind of see the S markings of the
Mm-hmm.
explosives that they set, which again, kind of takes away your. I guess on multiple viewings, maybe on first viewing, not so much. But one of the few weaknesses here. But hey, this ending piece where he telekinetically flies the mirror into his head's pretty boss.
Well, on first glance, when you're seeing that scene, you wouldn't notice it.
Right.
But now that you mentioned it, that's exactly what I was looking for. And now every time I see that scene, I'll see that. I'll see
Absolutely. Calbot, you might be right. Maybe it was just
Yeah.
bad karma.
the S. That's a lot of bad luck. So, even with that head wound, knife in the stomach, glass in the head, he did not die.
No.
But I don't think he doesn't have the stuff anymore.
Nope. It's a great reveal, by the way, too. Just like the other good edits, it's like it just shows us just enough, and then we peel back the curtain a little bit and see, okay, there's something else there. Yep, there you go. Cut out a piece of the brain and can't control minds anymore.
Yep. Great villain, and now the world is just going to think of him as a raving lunatic.
That's right. What's interesting, like there's one inmate that says he's Babe Ruth, but Babe Ruth was still around back in 1931, 32, so it's kind of an interesting choice there.
James Hellier mentioned he was lobotomized.
Yes.
Yep, and lost his powers. Got
Yep.
that. Yeah.
I guess that's more humane than killing him.
Yeah. But if he had killed Khan, that would have almost taken him down a notch as a superhero. Wouldn't it?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, the superhero has to do whatever they can to preserve life, and as well as the pursuit of justice. And there we go. And
There
get
we
the
go.
ending with the eyes.
Yeah. Johnny Devick mentioned this is where they put everyone from Bill and Ted. That's exactly right. When you tell the story, you're going to end up in a loony bin.
All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that one, because that was one heck of a film, at least for my reckoning.
That was a good one. Very good choice. So, what did everybody think? Let's hear from the audience. And while everyone is gathering their last thoughts, let me see. I have next week's movie already picked out. It's a good one. Oh, Johnny Devick said fun times, but need to see it without comments. Watch it again on its own and see if it still has, that appeal.
Yep. Alex, Miss Swift, I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah, a lot of people saying it's good. Johnny Devitt, yeah, mad, very entertaining. Alex said always loved this movie. Oh, Eric over on Discord never saw this. I really liked it. Great movie. That was a good choice. Calbot mentioned it was fun. I can see why it got lost in the box office, but it holds up. Yeah, box office. 94 is when it came out.
Yep.
And James Hellier says, I feel sorry for Russell McKay. Does a great job directing, film bombs, and takes his career with it. Sometimes a movie will have everything and it bombs. Sometimes a movie has nothing in it that you could say would make it successful, and it becomes a blockbuster. So And does this movie hold up after all of these decades? Yes, I think it does. It's still a very fun, watchable movie. Um, and it does hold up, but it certainly got lost in the shuffle when it first came out. So
Yes.
as far as like the superhero blockbuster movie, this usually isn't at the top of anyone's list, but there you go. For back in 94, this was a very, very, what should I say, courageous effort.
Hmm. I think that's a wise appraisal.
So, yeah, so there you go. Thank you, Mr. Furzel, for joining us.
Thank you for having me,
Um,
Sharon. This was a lot of fun.
yeah, it certainly is different when you're in front of the camera, and I hope
Absolutely.
you enjoyed it.
Oh,
So,
100%.
um, all right. So, everybody, for next week, a little change of pace. One of my favorites of all time, drum roll, we are going to be watching Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Oh, that sounds like a fun one.
We're going to go off the rails with some fun, rambunctious comedy.
There we go.
Um, and it is from the late 70s or mid to late 70s. It should be readily available in your area. Um, and if not, then give me a shout. Maybe I can find it. I'm sure it's on all the streaming services. And we are going to be having a lively discussion next week.
Absolutely.
I do not have a co-host lined up for next week. If anybody would want to, give me a shout out. We'll see if we can pull it together.
Just like this guy did. Turned out to be a lot of fun.
Exactly. Yeah, sometimes it comes together at the last minute. Sometimes I have it planned out weeks ahead of time. Who knows? So, anyway, for those of you who don't already know, the Super Bowl is on today. It, it
I
always
think
gets a
probably
lot of
most people are probably avoiding it, but there
hype.
might be some
Mhm.
fans that might be from Philly or Kansas City. I'm sure
Yeah.
will be watching.
So luckily this movie we got done in plenty of time for anybody who does want to watch the Super Bowl. And also one other comment I wanted to make, totally forgot about it until now. Next month we have daylight savings coming up on March 9th. So I am in a different time zone than Andrew was. So I'm still wondering how it's going to look, because if we just go by daylight savings time, we're going to be doing this an hour earlier. Jump, fall back, spring forward. So
Bring
we'll be
forward
doing it an hour
an hour
later.
later. Yep.
So, and then we won't be going back to this regular time for another 6 months. So I'm debating altering the time just so we do this at 1:30, if that makes sense. Because Andrew is located in the UK. When we would do daylight savings, we did it back 1 or 2 weeks, and then we did our regular time, if that makes sense. So anyway, we'll see. Just to kind of keep us all on the same schedule, I think. So anyway. Much obliged, Mr. Furzel. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you, Sharon, for having me. It's just a pleasure
And
all throughout.
as for everybody else, thank you so much for joining me once again. And next week, we're going to be watching a classic comedy from Monty Python. So until next week, we'll see you all later.
Bye-bye. Later, Gators.